hear someone on the radio, my dad or I will always say like, oh, that, that person's obviously like a black voice. I remember when JoJo first came out and she was like, soulful and all that stuff. My dad was like, she's white, like no way, she sounds so black. So I think black people definitely think that they can tell.
I mean, I agree that there is definitely a stereotype black voice, and like I definitely do that too, where like I'm listening to the radio and I'm like, oh, that's like a black guy, like yay, black man on the radio. But like, I don't know, I guess it's like being a Stanford student, especially being a black Stanford student, and recognizing that, especially here, the vernacular is very different. Like what people would generally stereotype as the black voice is
Definitely.
Kind of unusual. And like to make accommodating for it in schools, it's an interesting subject because like I'm from Oakland, and like there's like definitely a vernacular that's different than what I'm used to hearing at Stanford, for example. But it has like a grammar system. Like it's not made up. It's not like like something that's completely random. It's like there's a system to it. It's just not the one that we're supposed to use in our educational system. But if we should accommodate for it when it's necessary to use standard English pretty much everywhere inside of life, doesn't really make sense.
I think every single person who answered this question guessed that this person was African American.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
How's that not a
United
black
States
guy?
of America,
How is that not a black guy?
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well,
So, what made you guys think that was like you seem very sure?
I did. For example, if it was like a female voice and the consonants were very sharp, I'd guess it was Asian. But I'm not sure what is exactly about the black voice that I think attributes to black, whether it's like more of a buffered consonant sound, or I'm not quite sure what it is, but I feel like I know it when I hear it. Like less sharp.
I did. Last year I took a chemistry class, organic chem, and I had a TA that didn't speak English very well, and it was really hard to understand and like learn all the stuff I needed to learn. So I ended up switching out of it and going to a different section to get a different TA. So I think it does have a big effect on learning if you can't understand what they're saying. But
I was thinking about vernacular. I mean, I really like the idea of vernacular, and I think that every culture or every like ethnic group has a vernacular, and then every like counterculture or like subset of like of the United States has a vernacular. I was thinking about whenever I sit in class and hear how many times someone says the word like when they're talking. That's part of our vernacular as American youth, So I think that vernacular.
Back to the class thing, I think a lot of times like you can tell, like not only like if they're maybe English isn't their first language, but also the class that they grew up in when learning English.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like there were people from my school who were like second language learner or whatever, second learning like English, whatever. And like the people who were like living or going to more kind of affluent schools definitely had a like even though there was a difference in their like the way that they spoke, it was much closer to the like kind of standard whatever King's English vernacular. And if you'd gone to a school where it was like more low class, you could definitely hear the vernacular changes there too, even though they still had like an accent.
I feel like with European, I'm talking about like Western European accents, like there's definitely more kind of like a fascination and kind of like admiration for it. And then as opposed to like, for example, Asian languages, I feel like it's more like comical kind of, like, you've heard like, like Chinese accents and things like that. And then like with more, with like black accents, like black, I don't know, or like not accents, but kind of like the black way of like vernacular way of talking. I think maybe because like it's associated with like rap songs or something, I don't know, it's like the rap songs talk about like being from the hood or whatever, so like people kind of associate that with more like poor, like, like lower class and more urban, just, I don't know, so I see that a lot. And I don't really know about Eastern European.
For me at least, there was definitely the issue of hearing what would you accent. I don't know what you'd call it, but that definitely like overshadowed like ethnicity. I could like see multiple ethnicities at the same time saying that. So
I'm curious as to where it comes from. You know, like I don't, or if it's, and you asked if it's a construct, right? So I was thinking, okay, maybe if if they're one gay guy is more feminine, and then 40% of the gay guys are more feminine, so they speak in higher voices. So then the other gay guys who have deeper voices who hang out with them end up speaking more like them, and maybe that builds the. But I don't know where it would come from, like by I don't know.
I think particularly right now, like for gay people, it's a big deal for you to sound gay. You know what I mean? Like it's very much will very much be associated with your character and things like that. And if you're a male who has a vernacular or has a way of speaking that's closer to like what most people would consider gay, it will be a negative, thing for you. Even if you're completely straight, like people will judge you and associate you with being gay, and you'll probably have some negative like social ramifications based on that fact. Just like if you're a black person who doesn't speak with the natural black or the stereotypical black vernacular, there will be people who judge you for speaking that way too. And those, even if you do speak stereotypically, it's like basically no matter what you do, you're screwed.